Hello, welcome back to the Force Commander's Guide to Purging Nurgle. I'm Jade Star. Bullish is currently in the freezer, we'll get to him later. And today we're going to take a quick look around the map, see that we're not going to make it to that mission, pop up the timeline, and see that our research is done in 2 days. This is going to be a very important research, and it's going to lead to a big long cutscene, so I'll see you on the other side.
Sharp rises in your heart rate and other physiological markers. Fully unaugmented, this typically indicates either severe emotional distress or psychic overload.
It has been challenging, Dominus, but hardly a measure of my limits.
Commander, the Inquisitor has completed her task.
Indeed, and it has proved fruitful beyond my hopes. As I theorized, the seeds all emit a common signal from the same destination.
Conclusion?
Don't you see? Such power echoes in the winds of the warp, whispering of a birthplace, the source of their power. I believe the answer to every question will be found there.
Inquisitor, you listen to voices in the Sea of Souls?
You object to my methods, Knight?
You are only human. You walk a dangerous path.
I am a sanctioned Inquisitor of the Ordo Malleus.
This petty dueling is unproductive. Inquisitor, you have located this site?
Have I not said it? The seed's energy points here, to the heart of an Eldari craft world. The craft world Usaria. In the warp's tides, I saw visions of it overrun. The inhabitants slaughtered by the plague god's servants. Now, its wraithbone ruins act like a protective cocoon, shielding the bloom's foul energies from detection.
Such a blasphemous sight will not be unguarded.
Existing archives suggest this craft world is dormant. A swift strike could yield valuable data.
Your tech priest is, as always, on point, Commander. When the time comes, and I urge you to make it soon, I will accompany your knights through the ruins of the craft world and extract the truth with my own hands.
So, Vakir has found the source of the plague, or at least where these shards seem to be emanating from. And it's a corrupted Eldar craft world. I don't know a whole lot about that, but that seems like a big deal. So we're going to have to go there eventually. That is where the plot demands we go. In the meantime, we can now research anything of our choosing. We have plenty of green seeds to spend, but there isn't too much to research. A couple of new stratagems, which are okay. Over here under the Prognosticar tree, though, these are all good abilities that I want to get eventually. Bloom Suppression is nice. Tides of Escalation, probably my first pick. Just every time there's a warp surge, everybody gains a willpower. It's great. But following our plot, it's time to talk to everybody.
You have my attention, Knight. Yes, our records are scant, but it seems the craft world has been silent for ages. There must have been something on that craft world to anchor the plague god's disease in real space. If we must. I've had the plague god in my sights for a long time, Commander. Nurgle's servants take many forms. This is my life's work. I have become particularly adept at it. Very well. I am impressed, Commander. If we must. Yes, you've taken enough of my time.
Come, let us talk over what troubles you, brother. They despise the warp spawn as much as we do. Yes, before I joined the Purifiers. Be ready to face any foe. by all means. Formidable foes who have spent the last 10,000 years rotting but will not die. Mortarion went begging for the Plague God's deliverance. Traitor Astartes who have wholly given their souls and physical bodies to the god of decay. Do not let them linger. We should engage and purge them on sight. Certainly. Under your guidance, it is a proud day to be a Grey Knight. By all means, I hope that aids you, brother.
Protocol demands a preliminary salutation. Consider this requirement fulfilled. The highest probability is that we will not face a craft world, but a ruined husk. Affirmative. I was in proximity to an Eliatok craft world once. The material has unique properties. Waiting for new input. I and the ship remain vigilant. The interaction is over.
And after everyone has given us their opinions or insights into the current events in the Eldari craft world, as soon as we pop out to the star map, the game is going to very blatantly tell us exactly where it is and what we need to do. This mission does not time out. I think Vakir will get angry if you delay it too long, and after she gets angry, the game itself gets angry and starts making life on the starboard harder by causing more missions and more bloom. So you can put it off for a while, but if you put it off too long, you may end up causing problems for your own campaign. Oh yes. Lunette does not like unsanctioned patterns in her algorithms. Thought that was funny. So the ship is starting to get the first upgrade in every major component, which is great. I still actually haven't upgraded anything in the Apothecarium. The upgrades I care about all require improved reactor 2. So one of the last things I can do before upgrading the reactor is improve the meditation chamber. And a 50% bonus to experience gain is great. Leveling up your knights faster is just universally a good thing.
Passing through a warp storm has a high chance of causing adverse events for the Edict. Warp storms also interfere with missions that occur within their boundaries.
So now that we have discovered the Eldari craft world, the gate is open to warp storms. These will now just appear on the map periodically. They can sometimes move, and they definitely have adverse effects if you try to travel through them. And our 3 missions, 2 are nearby, and 1 is over there by the craft world. It's a clean planet at the moment, so letting it get 1 point of bloom is not a big deal. Especially since we go to it, we're probably not getting the other ones. Zypha and the other one are right next to each other. So pretty safe bet that we're going to get both of these done on this bloom cycle. Easy valorous deeds as well. Can't decide which one I was going to go to first. I'm just going to go to the midpoint. And I'll get to both of them, so I'll make a decision here. Let's go to this one. It's the most bloomy one. It's the most important one probably to bring down.
I despise waste, Inquisitor. The baleful edict has been operating under your direction for months. And yet this mild infestation of yours persists. I expected concrete results, not more reams of speculative guesswork.
To unravel the workings of chaos is no simple task, Grandmaster. This plague cannot be fought with steel alone.
That may be. Now, to the business at hand. I have only been able to give a cursory scan of your latest account. Commander, I would have a frank assessment on your collective progress in the field.
So we get to choose how to answer Ka here, and I'm not entirely sure how to answer him. If we're losing ground, he might be upset. He might give us servitors or something if we say we're damaged. But I'm just going to be confident.
I concur. We may be limping, but we are Grey Knights. This task will not deter us.
You see, Inquisitor, this is the mettle of Titan's sons. Commander, Ektar, I commend your confidence and will redirect some of your allocation to another brotherhood in more immediate need. Farewell.
I'm starting to think he hasn't actually read my reports.
Grandmasters are used to giving orders and having them obeyed. If you could try to restrain yourself from debating every last point upon which you differ, you might more readily earn his respect.
I suppose it was optimistic of me to expect that by dealing with the Adeptus Astartes, I could be free of the sort of loathsome bureaucratic pandering necessary in the rest of the Imperium.
The Grey Knights have a saying. We serve the cause of humanity, but expect nothing from it.
I've already readjusted my expectations.
I love the petty bickering. So maybe my choice to Kai wasn't the best. I mean, 50% EXP growth for 45 days is pretty rad, especially when we have 2 missions coming up. But, you know, I don't like having to just give away requisition for nothing. It's hard to come by. But I am dumping 10 out of 12 points of it here to upgrade our armory access, which is going to be great. It's also going to let us get our first bit of assassin kit, which I'm going to discuss in a bit more detail when we suit up for the next mission, and when we pull Olish out of the freezer. And we have arrived. I am once again joined by my favorite friend who once stood still for an entire week before assassinating his target, Olish.
Man, that'd be a really cool disguise. Just an assassin disguised as a snowman. I'm sure that's been in a movie somewhere. Alright.
I wish. Oh yeah, this is
what
just
a free deed.
Yeah, right?
Do the thing that you're already doing anyways. It's like kill people with ranged attacks or melee attack.
Storm.
Devorn.
Yeah. No, it's good. He's good.
It's good that we didn't keep both of them. We might have had to rename one of them.
Yeah. It's already getting them mixed up.
Fern.
I've already forgotten if Hearn is... I don't know.
I checked too.
Yeah, if he was the one, like he's... It's not great that he's got that top ability, but...
No. But he's the one we start with, so he always comes with that.
Yeah.
Just to make our free, glorious deed even easier. Skull.
Skull. I mean, you got the free pockets. The skull pockets.
What about skulls with pockets? Sockets, if you will.
Yeah. There's that ranged crit chance from the level up.
Yep. Oh, yes. So I'm looking at these. So 25, 50% chance on his auto abilities.
Yep.
It is time to change those numbers.
I figured when you picked the Sanctic Shard, it was really for Vanos.
It's for everybody. It's great for a lot of classes.
I mean, tier 1 war gear in general. Like, the focus is good, but the focus crystals at higher levels is so much better.
Yeah. So it would help with, like, first strike on the halberds, parry on the great swords, things like that. It's also real strong on Interceptors and Justicars, I feel, or actually even Purgators, like, because their auto abilities tend to be really strong, like free reload going from a 50% chance to a 70% chance on the lowest shard level. But especially when we get a little farther and we get like but the real skills I feel that benefit from it are like Ruthless Precision or Teleport Specialization. The things that grant AP on a 50% chance, granting AP on a 70 or 80 or better chance, really big deals.
It's not that I disagree with that. It's just I looked at the Focus Crystal, and the Tier 3 Focus Crystal is 50%.
Yeah.
Which turns a lot of things that are coin flips into always guaranteed.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
That's super huge. For our Vindicare Assassin, now that we've purchased the upgrades, we can start getting new gear, which then costs more requisition. And each set of gear has a couple of different flavors. I want this one that has focus eventually, but I can't get focus right now.
Yeah, can't upgrade it, so...
Yeah.
Does not have very much in the value side of things.
Resistance is okay, but this stealth suit just has 15% focus. In case you want to make your Vindicare a Grenadier. And I was trying to figure out, like, what's the point of this one? It's just extra HP.
Yeah.
Which is, there's an argument for. Our Vindicare is level 4 and only has 10 HP. They're a little fragile compared to Knights.
Yeah. 3 upgrading to 5 more HP is a 50% increase in what he's got.
Yeah. I'm going with the focus, because that's what we're doing here, and then I'm just going to get the highest crit chance rifle possible.
Because precision targeting is great.
Oh yeah, exactly. So now, 60% chance when he moves, he just gains an AP, and was that 85% chance on a pistol kill for an AP back.
And there are reasons why you might want to specifically feed kills, not just for EXP, but getting more cooldown reduction.
Right. Yeah, I think so. The other great thing about the Assassin's rifle, just the intrinsic 15% more crit on top of his skill tree buildup. So we just have a 25% chance of precision targeting on a regular hit. And later we can upgrade that even further.
Bloom spawn located. Teleportation converging on an abandoned transportation hub.
Our enemy's strategy is clear. The bloom settles in our Imperium's collapsed infrastructure.
Kind of similar to
safe
Gene Stealers
from
in that
watchful
regard.
eyes, but close enough to the huge populations
They're
it plans
transportation
to feed on.
hubs?
Well, the settling outside of sight, but very near to large populations.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, Gene Stealers take a couple of generations before they can really hide effectively.
I was just curious how that worked. I thought it was like Gene Stealer just like went in and murdered people and ate them, and then I don't know, became camouflaged in their flesh like Leatherface style or something.
I am with you.
No, it's a little bit creepier than that. They do kidnap people and eat them.
Right.
But they're called Gene Stealers because they harvest genetic material
Right.
and then use it to make hybrids.
Okay.
And then the next generations are more hybridized until eventually you get Gene Stealers that are
Unleash me.
look
Weapons
very
ready.
similar, if not identical, to their host population.
Okay. So it's iterative rather than just they eat you
Yes,
and then they
Commander.
are you. Like
Yeah.
Prototype. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, a lot like Prototype.
Listening.
Or rather, not like Prototype.
Right.
Prototype was also a super rad game.
Yeah. I did an LP of it that I never published.
Your command.
I have never felt more rewarded for being absolutely psychotic. This is a game that doesn't reward you
Yes, Commander.
for doing things like picking up a random civilian, climbing to the top of a skyscraper, throwing him off, and seeing if you can race him down. That's definitely something that I did it more than once.
Permission to engage, Commander.
because it was just fun.
It was a very fun game. I feel like half of our optional goal achieved.
It didn't even cost you AP. I understand it's a gameplay conceit, but it's also extremely funny to me that just nobody reacts to a skull coming over me. Like, yoink, got it.
They're very stealthy skulls.
So, couldn't really avoid this activation.
Yeah.
Not the most ideal, but it's just cultists. I mean, what are they going to do?
Unleash me.
See that you got your knights clustered together, and I don't know, is there a grenade launcher guy? I feel like there's going to be a grenade launcher guy who's going to throw a pin grenade and frag grenade directly on that spot.
I can almost guarantee you that is not going to happen. I don't actually think that there's a grenadier in this mod. It actually wasn't that bad of an activation. I was kind of sure that it was going to happen, and I didn't have to move the Vindicare. So from where he is, he can see 3 targets, and he can spend his whole turn just shooting.
Or, well, shoot twice and then reload.
Reload, right. Essentially, there's no wasted movement on him.
Well, he's got reasonable odds of at least refunding the first move.
It's true.
The other thing was great.
Well, that's all focus crystals do, is increase the odds of auto abilities.
Well, yeah, but it's an auto ability that refunds AP.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're just talking about before. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna get a focus crystal, that's one of the main reasons to do that. Also, 50% crit chance.
Yeah.
Locked on.
All enemies have a little bit of inherent crit vulnerability, which even can be a negative number. But being able to just do this without spending crippling shot is hilarious and fun.
That's what are they gonna do? Run at you and beat you to death with their remaining limb?
Time to reload.
And then bleed to death, because now the Vindicare does bleed damage on crits. Would it surprise you if the answer was unironically yes?
I mean, yes, of course that's going to be what they're going to try to do.
I had not thought that the heavy stubber cultist could just destroy cover.
Another one down.
I mean, you can do it with the various heavy weapons that destroy some cover like that.
Target.
But it seemed
can't
like he
blow up
shot
high cover,
just
or-
to do that.
Yeah. The Purgator Psycannon will destroy half cover. But yeah, it looked like he was firing into full cover and just
Against the target who he couldn't have damaged anyways.
right. And destroyed my entire cover, and I don't know, I feel like I hadn't seen that before, but I'm also a goldfish.
I suspect that
Awaiting
one of the reasons you might not have
directions.
seen that before is the idea of shooting at a target in full cover relative to you is not something you're likely to do. Why would you do that when you won't do any damage? It seems like a bad shot. In this case, it happened to be worth, 4 damage to one of your knights.
I'm really upset I can't shoot that crate of power coils or whatever. Fusion batteries.
Generally, when you shoot batteries, they don't explode.
Targeting.
Just leak and become more boringly
Target
hazardous.
wounded.
Unless they're lithium ion.
Ammunition.
Lithium ion batteries will sometimes explode for no reason whatsoever. But it's also like a very boring and dull kind of explosion.
Well, if they're not in a confined space.
Even if they're in a confined space, and assuming that this isn't magical space battery tech, which it's certainly not. Like the problems that with the Samsung phones being recalled on airplanes, it was not a big issue. There was no threat to the integrity of the plane or any of that, because ultimately even our best batteries are only about 1/10 as good as gasoline.
What is your will?
In terms of like energy retention.
Yeah, by weight. And I mean, imagine lighting like a little bit of gasoline about the size of a phone battery. It's not going to do a whole lot.
Firing on target. Targets destroyed.
Easy patrol of cultists, and we have this You know what? I'm
Vindicare
still
at
really
your disposal.
trying to figure out why all of the terrain is hanging
Understood.
in space. Now that I've kind of put some thought into it, and I'm aware that I'm presenting it to other people. It's like,
Enemies detected.
what is the setting of this? Where there is this series of platforms with like stairwells to each other, hanging over this enormous, bottomless chasm.
Your command.
I mean, you have the
Unleash me.
sort of ubiquitous giant megacities.
Your orders?
I mean, that's where you're doing all of your the titular undercity part of Necromunda. You know,
Right.
You're in the beneath parts. These missions are probably in, I don't know, the middle parts.
Yes, Commander.
Maybe in the upper parts.
Wouldn't that involve a roof
Taking
then?
position.
Yes.
Because it's raining.
I mean, maybe you're on the top.
Weapons ready.
I don't know. I don't know the setting well enough to know what like being in a 40k city is supposed to look like.
Shitty, mostly.
I've been getting that impression.
The unfaithful are here.
There's a
Ready
certain
yourselves.
element of like the various constructions, where terrain and all that, but being in the void is just a rendering conceit.
Okay.
Some of it is going to be hive cities. This almost certainly, because you have natural terrain. You're not like millions of feet in the air, or even thousands of feet in the air. You're just, maybe a couple hundred on a planet with a
Another
weird
foul
preponderance of
seed
mesas.
claimed.
You remember our good old friend Plant Artillery, right?
I've claimed the
Ah,
seed.
yes. Everybody loves friend plant artillery.
11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, right there. So I just fight from behind this line, and I don't have to worry about the plant spitting on me. Which is actually a pretty easy task when this group is all melee except for the
Vindicare at your
preacher.
disposal.
It is kind of weird that your objectives in the top left are sort of contradictory.
Oh, what, the purple one that says defend the bloom spawn?
Yeah. I mean, I know that's not actually an objective. That's the,
Does the reinforcement portal that's coming in the turn.
Mark
Yeah.
acquired.
it looks like they're telling you to do two different things.
Precision target.
Don't follow
locked
the
in.
don't follow the orders from the purple people, Polish.
But
Weapon
the orders
empty.
are right in the objectives window. Why would I not?
Repositioning.
Those aren't orders. Those are just things that are happening.
They're just suggestions.
Yeah.
Bad ones.
They are the rules to acquiring more glory.
Yeah, the problem with standing off so far is that
Standing ready.
arms are only so strong. Or are you going to run forward, throw a grenade, and then run back?
No.
No.
I just really hated that guy.
For the Emperor!
He's got Terminator armor. Nobody's shooting him. Oh, never mind.
I probably could have put on Overwatch, but my plan was just to stay back here. Remember the 14 tile reach of the plant?
Well, yeah, but I thought for a second that you actually were going to run forward, huck a grenade into that giant group, and then run back to maintain the 14 tile barrier.
Yeah, I guess I could have.
I'm a little disappointed in you.
Wow. I just wanted the fat guy dead before he does like
shall not
his
pass.
float ability or summons more.
Your chosen advances.
Oh, but that is... Is that 2 armor? No, 2 HP?
3 armor.
Purge complete. They come to their doom.
Goddamn Nurglings. Oh, that's new. So, Nurglings, as we've seen before, just by their presence on being on the map, increase the HP of demonic things by 2. The things that are at 1 going to 3 isn't a big deal, but the walkers that go from like 5 to 7, that's the difference between like a melee hit and 2.
Yeah, you have to shoot them again.
Yeah.
So I forget what these things are in StarCraft, but they're definitely the turrets that you build a Zerg. That are
and the creep.
tentacles. Yeah.
I think that's it, just it. They're creep colonies, aren't they?
I thought there was something else.
I am an instrument of vengeance.
It's been so long since I've actually played StarCraft.
Tainted Chant is their ability. I'm looking here trying to see if I can shoot unending horde out of them. No, I can't. That is just intrinsic to being Nurglings. You know, maybe we snipe a couple of them off the pyramid. There'd be less of them or something. Doesn't work out.
I mean, that's just shooting them.
Yeah.
Locked on.
What if it was only one specific Nurgling in the pile that got the ability? You know, like as a cost-saving measure.
That's bad news about
Unleash me.
the way 40k assigned hits.
Yeah?
At least back when I played.
is your
So if
will?
somebody shot at you with like a las cannon or something, generally speaking, the person being shot determined which unit took the wound.
Ah.
There were some really bad things that you could do.
I feel like I remember that being the reason why Hive Tyrants were in a pile of like 700 Termagants?
Well, so there was a rule for independent characters. Something like a Hive Tyrant, being a monstrous creature, could always be shot independently.
Oh. Really? Man, I feel like that was not the case when I played.
Yeah.
That asshole.
So, like, Marines, like if you had a captain or
Unleash me.
a more expensive leader,
Yeah.
you would generally attach it to you at least for a while, because then he couldn't be shot independently.
Ah.
You could only shoot
orders?
the squad of which he was attached. Hive Tyrants couldn't attach to a smaller squad.
Your command.
There were reasons why you would, have, Termagants or Hormagants. There was a rule, and I don't remember what the rule was called, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist anymore, where a unit had to make a leadership test in order to shoot anything other than the closest target.
Who's next, brother?
I think that was in Necromunda.
Oh, it's also in Necromunda. Necromunda, in a lot of ways, was very, very old 40k rules, and never got updated until, a few years ago when they updated it. But like early editions of 40k, up to 5th edition, which is around when I stopped playing, you generally had to, if there was something that you wanted to shoot at that wasn't the closest thing, you had to make a leadership test. And it was mostly a formality, but sometimes it wasn't. It could fuck up your plan.
Okay.
Purge complete.
But yeah. So, not in 5th edition, but in 4th edition, orcs had some really, like, absolutely depraved things that they could do with bikes. Because orc bikes had 2 wounds.
Okay.
And you could independently equip them.
Ammunition depleted.
Now, the rule was when assigning wounds is that you couldn't just assign a wound to, like, this guy. You could assign a wound to something that was different. So, like, if you have, like a typical 10-man Marine squad, you have your sergeant, you've got a heavy weapon, a special weapon, and then 7 other Marines. If a wound came in, you could pick, all right, is this going to the sergeant? Is this going to one of the 2 special weapons or the heavy weapon? Or is this going to one of the random 7 Marines who are all otherwise identical?
All right.
And if you took 3 wounds, you would assign 3 wounds to the Marines, and then that group of Marines would take 3 wounds. The terrible thing with orc bikes was that you could make them all very slightly different. So you could have like 10 bikes that all had 2 wounds and high toughness, and you wouldn't be able to take any of them off the table because they had 2 wounds until you had dealt at least 11 wounds to the entire squad.
You put everything at half health before you start removing long.
Yeah, it was just awful. It was extremely gamey. It's clearly not the way the system was intended to work. They didn't design rules or modify them for tournament shit. That was just, there was a whole edition where this was a strategy that people who wanted to be really shitty and, you know, abuse something that was unintended could do, and did do in tournaments. And that was more or less how it was.
Finding better ground.
Hey, want to see a giant overkill shot?
Reloaded.
It's not overkill. You shot once and he died.
Yeah.
Overkill would be using, like, reupload on a zombie.
Time to reload.
Your command.
But anyways, so there was a reason why you would attach any characters to squads, just not beyond protecting characters. Like Marines, most Marine models only had 1 wound. So if you had a high value model who you were going to rely on, like your Devastators or something like that, you could actually like place your captain in there and have the captain soak a couple of wounds.
As you will.
Just so that you might have your heavy bolters.
Target acquired.
Right. Okay. Right.
Blessed ammunition
I
depleted.
don't know. I liked the idea of 40k. I really wish that the investment and playing of the game wasn't expensive. And also that the game didn't suck. The actual rules for the game are kind of garbage. Like, there's no balancing intended. Even remotely attempted for that beyond what is minimally necessary to maintain the pretense that this is a war game instead of a model collecting hobby. And there's nothing wrong with a model collecting hobby, but I was introduced to it as a war game. And I eventually exited it when it became clear that it was kind of crap as a war game.
Unleash me.
Well, that's how it was introduced to me way back. But, yeah. Having to
Executed.
maintain, paint, assemble, like, an army of things was just not what I was looking for.
I mean, this is one of the things that made Dawn of War so successful. And the idea of Games Workshop delivering its licensing to companies that would take a lot of the things that people really enjoyed, the over-the-top setting, the crazy, like, hyper-fascism, like, tongue-in-cheek with the Imperium, we've painted football hooligans green, or in some cases more green.
Some of them are
Made
yellow.
that a faction. Yeah. Elves that literally nobody likes, but people still play because they're dicks. Like, it's a very thoroughly enjoyable property, in the same way that Starship Troopers, the film, and some of the other media around it is enjoyable because there's a joke there and everybody's in on it.
Or are they?
Most people are in on it.
Storm.
We are doomed to walk a cursed world where people don't realize that Starship Troopers is a parody of fascism.
With alacrity.
You know, because that's how we got Helldivers.
Yeah.
And Helldivers is great.
But also should probably realize that it too is a parody of fascism.
If you're not aware that Helldivers is a parody of
Orders?
hyperfascism, I'm sorry.
There is no helping you.
Turn off the video. I'm gonna say some other things you're not gonna like. I'm sorry if I get you
Position
demonetized.
secured, Commander.
Oh, I barely even monetized at all. So while this reinforcement is just, I'm waiting for them to come up out of the ground. Remember, plant artillery has a minimum range, so Interceptor's just there slashing it, and I'm just waiting for these guys to pop up to be, like, free XP, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, I just kind of went on a rant about Vindicare. I guess it's the appropriate time and place to do it, but...
Yeah. Oh, I was very angry that I got
the
free
extra
move
AP
there.
for movement.
Yeah. If I had known, I could have planned around it.
Well, that's the thing. That's why the Tier 3 Focus Crystal is so great. You can't play around it.
Justice.
I remember the first time I think I saw these guys. It caught me by surprise that they don't just resurrect and do the usual reveal scramble. They actually take a full turn and try to engage you.
Yeah. It's not inherently a problem.
No, you just have to be aware of it.
Glory to Xyphos!
Ready to kill. I am death.
This was feeding
What is your
killed
will?
the apothecary for
Firing on target.
I mean, an experience, right?
Reload required.
you know that too, sure. I don't think I was really worried about that mid-mission, but yeah. I mean, I've been taking the Vindicare on lots of missions. He's going to level up pretty quickly.
What is your will?
That was just a misclick.
Well, never punish.
Finding better
Yeah,
ground.
that's fine. Everybody else is just sitting
Unleash me.
outside of artillery range anyway. There's nothing really for them to do on this turn after the walkers that spawn.
They can approach to near artillery range, and then approach to thin artillery range.
That's pretty much what they've done. They are right on the edge of it.
I know.
Your
That was a
command.
framing device for the audience.
Oh,
As-
okay.
As you immediately run forward and melee.
Yeah.
Although, Mithrak might not actually be able to do that.
It might not be. No.
But I don't think that artillery is surviving the turn anyway.
I do not believe it is.
Awaiting directions. Acquiring firing position. Taking aim.
Covering fire is a very strong skill. You can add 10 extra damage to a turn when you otherwise might be near a threshold for doing something safely or not.
I know it's really not actually great and extremely overkill by the time you can do that, but I still like after squad.
Of silencers with covering fire.
Nothing but silencers with covering fire.
Eliminated.
See what I can do.
It's the sort of thing where, like, sort of like towards the end of Total Warhammer campaigns when you just make a squad of, like, I don't know, nothing but like 19 iron breakers.
I mean, I feel like that's just my goal from turn 1 as a Dwarf Lord.
Just complete overkill from an economic warfare standpoint.
Or didn't you have a Cygor horde of like 18 Cygors and a Lord or two?
That was in Total Warhammer 1.
Oh,
that
okay.
was so long ago. And
Ready
yet
to
you still
kill.
remember.
Taking position.
Because Beastmen
it's somewhat
in Total
hard to
Warhammer
forget.
1 were broken as shit. And there was nothing stopping you from just getting 19 Cygors and rolling over literally everything. Because there was no army that could stop it. It's 19 cannons that also don't suck in melee.
Yeah, but they got exhausted real quick after throwing that many stones, didn't they?
Yeah, but exhaustion basically doesn't matter.
No.
Commander,
I mean, it exists, and it mattered a little bit more in
Understood.
Total Warhammer 1, but yeah,
Your orders?
it's still a giant throwing explosive rocks.
What is your will?
I feel like all rocks are explosive if you get them going fast enough.
I mean, that's generally true. Why you don't microwave rocks?
Why would anyone ever microwave rocks?
I don't know. Why would somebody microwave a cat?
targets nearby.
Are you okay, Polish?
No?
Okay. It's got weird.
I'm actually
very
really
quick.
upset about the microwaving cat story because it may have actually happened. It's one of those apocryphal things that people talk about, right? Like the needles in Halloween candy, which is definitely not a thing that actually happened.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it is persistent, the story that somebody knew a grandma at one point that tried to dry off her cat or her small dog in a microwave. And that may have actually happened because microwaves were new
Awaiting
technology at one
directions.
point.
So, hey, that Plague Marine,
On the hunt.
slightly different.
Oh, you got the plague flamer?
No, that's the Plague Spewers with the goo. Like this guy.
Yeah.
No, there is the Spewer guy, there's a regular, which I think is the one with the seeds. But the other one, this guy has something we haven't seen before.
Targets have been engaged.
Oh, he's got a melt-a-gun.
Yeah. And has armor break,
Not
which is incredibly
nearly
rude.
as dangerous as a melt-a-gun ought to be.
Right. It is still incredibly rude in this game, because it will permanently break armor. It's not really something I have a way of dealing with or recovering from.
Were the Plague Marines with melt-a-guns in the original release of the game?
I think they came out with
The
the DLCs.
DLC, yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
like
I
an
didn't remember those
update.
existing.
I don't think you need the DLC to see them anymore, but I think they got they put in when those came out.
Well, presumably they are one of the enemies that can actually threaten a dreadnought.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, they can threaten anybody.
I mean, even with 2 armor break, 5 damage is not, like, hugely dangerous. But for the dreadnought, which I'm going to assume, not having actually played the DLC, or
I
seen
will
the DLC,
mutilate you.
comes in with a lot of armor. Having 2 armor break is kind of an annoyance.
Yeah. I mean, it's an annoyance to Terminators, too. I only have, like, 2 armor on these guys.
Yeah,
I guess that is a good idea.
Yes,
That they
Commander.
probably came in as a threat to the Dreadnought. So they have another ability, which I might have overlooked and will find out again about in a turn or two. And it does really solidify them as kind of an anti-armor Plague Marine.
Your
Overwatch.
command.
Planes?
those are some really weird Overwatch planes.
Can we go back to having cones?
Commander,
It's harder to render a cone in a visually pleasing way.
mark acquired.
I don't know. Local ice cream place does it all the time to me.
Ammunition depleted.
Just reminded me that whenever I take Hippo to the park, almost without fail, there's an ice cream truck that shows up. And that particular ice cream truck is just cemented into my brain. Like, I can recognize it when it's in other
Activating
places.
Camellia-line defenses.
Because I see it almost every day, and I have to resist the temptation to just go get ice cream.
Just get ice cream every day.
I will fire when ready.
Yeah, that would be tough.
As you
Does
command.
it have like dog ice cream? I think that's a thing that exists.
I mean, dog ice cream is basically just whipped cream or frozen yogurt.
Because that sounds like a good business plan. Just show up at a dog park and be like, I got
They shall
popsicles
not
and
pass.
ice cream for people, and I got frozen dog treats. And so here's the other thing that the Melt-A-Marine can do.
I threw a grenade that also broke armor.
It's a crack grenade.
Wounds inflicted.
He there was just out of range and just decided to spew all over the ground ineffectually. I mean, it cuts me off from advancing, but like, I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like the
Enemy
like you
reinforcements.
have to have some sort of AI subroutine to be like, oh, if I'm not doing anything else, I'm just gonna spew some goop. It's not like we take damage from it.
Yeah. I imagine that's pretty much on par with the cultist AI, where it's move, shoot, and if you still have AP, Overwatch.
Yeah.
So it just the spewer can't Overwatch, so instead it just spews.
Your orders? Unleash me.
Just one little Nurgling rolling off the pile. And then I realized I inflicted weakened and not vulnerable.
Ready to kill.
Different abilities that do different things.
Storm. Down. Justice.
The reason I'm looking for this is because
Yes,
if
Commander.
anything gets to 3 or under, that is an easy pistol kill for the Vindicare and maybe a free AP.
I mean, 85% is pretty good.
With
Well,
pleasure.
sometimes you will.
Down with a whimper. Fire.
And he's out of here. I love it. But we did get our free AP out of it.
Another
got it
cur
twice.
goes down.
Here. How about you? What is your will?
Didn't breathe deep. Got it.
Awaiting directions.
I like how it kind of just explodes into like a puff of vaporous action points.
Dead.
Whatever it's supposed to be.
I mean, if it's a demon, it's not actually made of physical stuff.
No, I mean the Vindicare.
Oh.
When he
Hey.
procs the gain an AP back
come
on
on.
a pistol kill, he kind of explodes into a puff
Will
of smoke.
be done.
Oh, I mean, that's just the drugs.
Okay.
I mean, they all use drugs. That's why they joined the Officio Assassin Art. They have all the best and most
Another seed.
holy drugs.
Position secured, Commander.
I mean, not all
As
of
you
the drugs
will.
turn you into a psychotic roid beast and make you explode when you die.
I hope not. Although I think I would.
But definitely some of them do. Let's be clear.
I mean, what else is this guy going to do? But still, I feel a little like this guy walks out to just knife me for 2. Like, can't you just like
and
walk?
disrupt you.
Yeah, but that goes away by the time it's my turn.
Your
Like,
orders?
can't he just like trudge off the back platform sadly, just being like, you know, I'm useless. I'm just gonna go jump off this freaking husk of a sky bridge.
Down.
Again, whatever.
I mean,
You have been judged.
Marines generally have good
I am an
leadership.
instrument of
Even Chaos
vengeance.
Marines tend to have really good leadership. They're not likely to pull.
Confirmed.
I don't know. It's just that you know, my arm is gone, and all I have is well, I guess that's sure. I mean, there are real world cultures that have drilled that into soldiers before.
Weapon empty.
But it's still just very funny that just Space Marine has lost his, you know, main weapon and just like, all right, I'm still here. I'm still part of this fight.
I think you can grow it back.
Yeah. It's a good reason to run away from the guys that are going to stab you and not towards. But Boris here has the Terminator armor that it makes him immune to Plague, which is great because Plague is a status effect that's kind of everywhere.
And it's annoyingly persistent. It doesn't even do a ton of damage, just lingers.
Yes.
Forces you to either take more damage or spend a servo skull to get rid of it.
Or later, if we get into it, one of the biomancies from the apothecaries can cure status effects.
That's still more apothecary willpower spent on
It is. Yep.
something that you'd rather not have to.
I think I have counted my squares properly, and that Boris is safe from plant-based artillery. And as these Chaos Marines show, that they're more than willing to just charge straight forward when all they have is a knife, so I'm just gonna set up Overwatch. Already let me down. I guess it's only a 25.
Yeah, but it still feels bad to not first strike.
Weapons ready.
Wrong side of that gap.
Yeah, I hate that he's just not inside pistol range.
As requested. Die.
Oh, I though.
Terminated.
Well, I mean, I guess without not quite as close as I would have liked. I'm losing an AP to close the distance. But what does it matter? What is this plant going to do? Learn to shoot point blank?
Cower.
The self-propelled gun's last defense is direct fire.
Feel the weight of my sword. Oh!
Not quite like trying to deal with lights from blind firing LRMs, but kind of similar.
Down.
That's why every LRM boat needs at least 4 medium lasers.
Is that specifically a damage threshold to kill a light or something?
I mean, it's 20 damage. It's like an AC 20. In MWO, it's enough medium lasers to feel
Taking
like
position.
Alright, yeah.
it's also only 4 tons. Like, come on, you gotta be able to fit 4 medium lasers somewhere.
Destroy.
Support fire is a strong combination, which I'll be using for the rest of the game.
It's really, really strong.
Good show. The source of this corruption has
Oh, I wonder how many arms our Vindicare shot off that mission. That was good.
I was not counting, but I feel like the answer is probably around 6.
Yeah, I feel like them. And just the free AP from the pistol kills also is real great. So it feels good to finally spend some of my first requisition on really tangible, positive effect gear. I'm hoping to
Well,
get
I
some.
mean, you spent some of your other requisition on less tangible but still positive effect stuff.
Like armory access, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Armor
yeah,
access.
Yeah. Hey, look, a level 2 Northesium. That's, something. A high ammo bolter with a crit chance. That's actually kind of nice for interceptors.
Yeah. If that reload less.
Yeah.
But at this point,
Ooh, look at this one. Yeah, we're getting this. It does more damage, it has a crit chance, and it has armor break. And we can upgrade all of those things as well. I'm very happy about armor break.
I mean, this is only tier 2. There's no reason to specifically wait on this.
Right. Like power armor that could have almost as much armor as Terminator armor.
I mean, it's boring, but it exists.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh, I can't get the interceptor. If I get that. Do I want to kind of just like fish for a trait on a interceptor, or do I just want to get all the gear that I like?
You didn't even look at the war gear.
It's undulating thingies for resistance.
It's blessed unguents or something.
Yeah, it's a word that I use in my day-to-day life that I definitely remember.
Unguents?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not a mortician.
Is that what it's for?
I mean, it's where you might have heard it before.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a very old-timey word for, like, a cream. Or something that you might, like, apply to skin.
Okay.
That kind of cream, not like, you know, the thing you might put on a taco.
Yes. Alright, so top skill here is the silencer. Bottom tier thing here has pockets, which I really like. But the real thing we want with interceptors is the top right corner.
Yeah,
We have to go through Hammerhand for it, which is fine.
Hammerhand's good to have.
Yeah.
Spend 2 willpower to get a guaranteed crit.
But then it leads into crit chance, crit damage, and regain an AP on a crit. So that box of crit is absolutely the most valuable box for an interceptor. Which is weird because I always get support fire first.
Yeah. But support fire has immediate linear benefits.
Yeah.
You put some skill points and you get. The crit gets relatively better the further along you are and the more war gear and better war gear that you have.
Yeah. Which is why I tend to lean into falchions with my interceptors, just to get that crit chance as high as possible.
I mean, I feel like there's something to be said for all the weapon types, but for interceptors specifically, yeah. More likely to get a crit, more likely to get that AP.
Yeah. And then, I don't know what happened, but none of my apothecaries were even using, like, upgraded Northesiums. This is maybe the one thing that my goldfish memory really gets me in. Is that a lot of the time I will get all these cool rewards at the end of the mission, spend the requisition, and then
Not immediately equip them.
not immediately equip them because I get distracted by maybe the star map, maybe promotions or something else.
Spending skill points.
Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, what did I just buy? I need to go make sure I equip that before I forget.
Storm.
So Storm was already wearing the max HP armor. But this one has armor. I don't know.
I mean, the other one can eventually be upgraded to have armor as well.
Right. Eventually, I think I'm going to have more Marines. I mean, I currently do. Then I do, like, suits of armor for them. And it's always just kind of a mix and match for me. That, you know, I have 10 people wearing power armor and, like, 8 people wearing Terminator armor. And you're just constantly cycling or trying to find one in the mission rewards to equip.
Storm.
I feel like the interface for this could be a little bit better.
Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, our interceptor gets the maximum ammo bolter just so that there's less need to reload it. Because at current, they have 3-round capacity, and I have the ability to fire off 2 support rounds, so I get a turn and a half. So that could mean, like, I get 2 on a turn and then 1 on the next, and then he's stuck, and I need to find time to reload him. At 4, I at least get 2 full turns before it needs to be reloaded, and hopefully by that point everything can be cleaned up in melee, and I get the free reload when combat ends. And then I just decided to look at the Nexus and be like, oh, this looks fun. This looks absolutely fun.
Well, unfortunately, that is, a required mission.
Yeah. It's not particularly time sensitive either. We've got some time. I could go get that whenever I feel like it. And once our team is healed up and maybe with a little bit more gear and levels, I'll go to it. I could go right after this, but we're going to go do that mission on the far left first, obviously, because it's the time sensitive bloom. And then I need to start making a determination about when I want to go to that craft world. But that's not going to be next time. But please come back, join us next time, and stay safe out there.